Is XXX really the worst album ZZ Top ever made? When the band released a record in 1999 to celebrate their 30th anniversary, the reaction from critics was incredibly divided. Some reviewers absolutely trashed it, calling it weak, stiff, and creatively exhausted. Others defended it as a gritty blues rock record with some of Billy Gibbons' nastiest guitar tones in years. So what's the truth? Did ZZ Top celebrate 30 years together by releasing their worst album, or is XXX simply misunderstood? By the end of this video, we're going to take a closer look and try to answer that question. Before getting into the album, I want to mention my personal connection to ZZ Top and the album. This was my first time listening to XXX. ZZ Top is a band I've been familiar with for years. Like most rock fans, I grew up hearing the songs from the MTV days, mostly from the Eliminator album. Later, I discovered their first 10 albums, and when I bought the box set, which is the one up here, and for that reason, I never listened to the 5 albums that came after Recycler until now, and that's why I'm reviewing them on this channel, because I had a few people request that I review the 5 albums that came after Recycler that are not in this box set. But moving on, the sound came out in 1999. It was long after the band already cemented their place in rock history. By that point, they'd been around for almost 30 years, and for a lot of fans, their classic era was well defined. So going into this album, I was curious. Was it really one of the weakest in their catalog, or was it just an album that was overlooked? The album was released in 1999. XXX marked ZZ Top's 30th anniversary as a band. The title itself is simple, the 3 X's, representing 3 decades together. By that point, the Texas Trio had already built one of the most consistent lineups in rock history. Billy Gibbons, Dusty Hill, and Frank Beard had been playing together since 1970. One interesting thing about XXX is the way it's structured. Instead of being a typical studio album, the record is divided into 2 parts. The first half features 8 studio tracks, and the second half contains 4 live recordings. This approach actually mirrors the structure of their 1975 album, Fandango. And you probably know that album was also a half studio album with live performances. The idea was to capture both sides of ZZ Top, the studio band and the powerful live act that had built their reputation in the early years. But despite the celebratory concept, the album ended up dividing critics in a major way. Some reviewers were extremely harsh. One critic gave the album only 1.5 stars, saying the songwriting felt weak and the band sounded stiff and uninspired. Other reviewers were much more positive, praising Billy Gibbons' guitar work and the album's raw blues rock feel. So why was the reaction so mixed? Part of the answer lies in how the album was recorded. During the sessions for XXX, ZZ Top recorded their private studio called Phone Box Recording in Houston. Right next door was another studio called House of Funk, which worked with major hip-hop and R&B artists like Scarface, the Ghetto Boys, and Destiny's Child. Over time, the musicians started hanging out together, sharing ideas and techniques. Billy Gibbons has talked about how the band became willing students of what the hip-hop producers were doing in the studio. This led ZZ Top to experiment with some modern recording methods they hadn't used before. The album incorporated digital drum loops, Pro Tool editing, and electronic textures. These elements created a rhythmic foundation that was very different from the band's traditional blues rock approach. Gibbons described the result as a kind of wacky collision between classic Texas blues and modern urban beats. And you can definitely hear that influence on certain tracks. The studio portion of the album opens with Pork Chop Sandwich. This track starts things off with a fuzzy guitar tone and heavy groove, has a slightly mechanical feel thanks to the modern production techniques. Some critics mocked the title and dismissed the song entirely, but musically, it does establish the album's gritty tone. Next up is Crucifix, a flat. The song is one of the clearest examples of hip-hop influence on the album. The rhythm has a loop-driven feel that's very different from ZZ Top's traditional blues shuffle. Billy Gibbons described the track as religion meets automotive safety song, written with what he called a Tom Waits-styled scrapyard sensibility. It's weird, experimental, and definitely not typical ZZ Top. Then we get Fearless Boogie. This was the album's main single. It's probably the most traditional ZZ Top record on the album. The groove is rooted in classic blues, particularly in the style of Jimmy Reed. The riff is simple but effective, and Billy Gibbons delivers some great bluesy guitar licks. The song reached number 13 on the mainstream rock chart, making it the album's biggest hit. Next is 36-22-36. This track continues ZZ Top's tradition of playful lyrics and double meanings. The band has always had a sense of humor in their songwriting. The song leans heavily into that style. Some critics thought it was classic ZZ Top fun. Others felt the humor didn't land the way it once did. Made into a movie, it brings darker atmosphere. The song has a cinematic blues feel, almost like the soundtrack to a late-night crime film. It's moody and stripped down, although some critics felt the production was too minimal and that track could have used more layers. Next up is Beatbox. This song highlights the rhythmic experimentation on the album. The groove has a modern feel. Some critics actually praise the track for its infectious rhythm. The guitar tone here is especially strong, with Gibbons delivering some gritty riffs over the beat. Then we get Trippin'. This is one of the songs critics often mention when they say the album sounds underdeveloped. The track has a good foundation, but the production is extremely stripped down. Some listeners enjoy the raw sound, while others feel it could have been expanded into something bigger. The final studio track is Dreadmon Boogaloo. This instrumental, easily one of the strangest pieces of music in the ZZ Top catalog. It blends blues, reggae, techno beats, drum and bass, and quirky organ sounds. It's chaotic, experimental, and not something you'd expect from the band. The second half of the album shifts into live recordings, which remind listeners that ZZ Top has always been a powerful live act. The live section begins with Sin Pusher. This is a reworked version of their earlier song Pincushion. The live energy is immediately noticeable, and the band sounding tight and confident. Next is a cover of Let Me Be Your Teddy Bear. Instead of performing it like the Elvis Presley original, ZZ Top turns it into a gritty blues rock version. Dusty Hill takes the lead vocals here, giving the song a darker edge. Then comes Hey Mr. Millionaire. The track includes backing vocals from guitar legend Jeff Beck. Interestingly, Beck recorded his vocals in a hotel room using a mini disc recorder, and they were later added to the track using Pro Tools. The album closes with Belt Buckle. The performance really showcases the band's live power. The groove is tight, the guitars are loud, and it reminds you that ZZ Top built their reputation on the road long before their MTV success. So let's go back to the question we started with. Is XXX really the worst ZZ Top album? After listening to it, I'd say it's definitely one of the strangest albums ever made. A mix of blues, rock, electronic elements, hip-hop rhythms, and experimental ideas make it feel very different from most of their catalog. I wouldn't call it a bad album, but it might sit at the bottom only because the rest of the albums are better. So if I would say it's their worst album, it doesn't mean a bad album. It just means the other ones are better. But there are still plenty of cool moments here. You got Billy Gibbons' guitar playing. The tone is gritty, bluesy, and nasty in the songwriting. Not as strong as their classic records, but still sounds like ZZ Top. So while XXX might not be their best album, calling it their worst might seem unfair, but it's like something has to be like at the bottom. And I would probably put this at the bottom. But anyway, I want to hear from you. You think this is the worst ZZ Top album, or you think it's just misunderstood? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss future rock and metal reviews here on our channel. Check out this playlist appearing on the screen right now, where I review all of the ZZ Top albums up to this one, and I'll be doing, I think there are 2 more after this. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.